Okay.
You remember how to do this?
Yes. It has been a while.
I don't know if I remember.
You remember. So you gotta put your phone down.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
You
right.
might want to take it off the table in case it buzzes. There you go. All right. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Hi, this is Beth.
And I'm Stan.
And you're listening to Mixed Politics. Welcome to episode 33.
33. Yes. Oh my God, we're on fire. 33. That's Patrick Ewing's number.
Oh my God.
Old school Knicks fan. Yeah. So
we're obviously a little hyped up because we haven't done this in a while. So
yeah, we took a little break.
Yes.
Matter of fact, how are you doing?
I'm okay. You
seem more than okay. Like, you seem great.
I'm trying to keep it low key, but I got a different job and I am so happy with it.
Nice.
Best career change I've ever made.
Best.
I'm so excited.
I love it for you.
Thank you.
I really do.
How are you doing?
You can't even ask me that.
Yes.
You can't.
You've just got exciting things in the works that you can't really talk about now, but you've got exciting stuff.
I mean, some of them I can talk about. I'm enrolled. I'm going.
Yeah.
School starting.
Yeah, that's great.
Changing my career, and it's not just that. Like, the past 7 days have been the greatest 7 days of my fucking life, and I cannot explain it. I don't know what's going on, but I'm buckled in.
Good.
I'm along for the ride.
Happy for you.
I didn't know it was gonna be like this.
No.
Oh
of course
my God.
We never do.
Yeah, you know what? That's resonating with the TED Talk I sent you earlier.
Yes.
Where it was just like,
good.
you have your plan or whatever.
Yes.
And then
something
else happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I had plans.
Yeah, I know you did. We all do. But sometimes
something else happens.
Yeah, exactly. So.
And it's not that bad. And it makes the story better.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So
now we're here. We're ready to talk. We have this fantastic episode, which some might consider we're a little bit behind, but actually in the time that we've taken to try to figure out when we can film this, new developments have happened. So I think this is actually a good time for us to talk about
let's tell them exactly what time it is.
Yes.
This is being filmed the last day of
August.
Which means it's my mother's birthday tomorrow. Hi, Mom. She don't listen to this. We cuss.
Okay.
So, what are you drinking tonight, Beth?
I am drinking a twist on Malibu Sunset. So it's Malibu, and then I have orange and rosé flavored seltzer. So it's the spirit of a Malibu Sunset.
All right.
I'm excited about it. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking rum and ginger ale with a splash of lime.
Okay.
I'm just keeping it real simple. I'm not
always that splash of lime.
Yeah, I'm not rocking the boat. I'm doing what I'm used to, what I know. So, what are we talking about tonight, Beth?
What's going on with Trump and the Presidential Records Act?
Oh, we're talking about what's going on with him in the act? Mm-hmm. Not the bunch of shit he stole.
Well, that's all together. And we're going to start with what is the Presidential Records Act. And that will, for anybody who's not familiar with it, that will explain exactly why it's related to all the shit that Trump stole.
Yeah.
So I have known about the Presidential Records Act for a long time because I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to presidential history.
Yeah.
Started reading presidential history books when I was like 8 years old, so nerd. But Presidential Records Act was passed in 1978, and it was enacted by the House in, July of 78, and the Senate passed it in October of 78. Jimmy Carter signed it into law November 4th, 1978. So it took effect in 1981 when Jimmy Carter left office. Now, this act is a direct result. This is something that people don't talk about. It's a direct result of Richard Nixon's words when he was doing an interview in 1977. I'm going to go into that for in just a second, but the act itself is essentially saying that the records that are generated, created by, reviewed by, touched by a president while in office or his staff or anybody attached to the presidency, those records belong to the people of the United States, not to the president himself. And so everything that is generated, created, touched by has to be sent to the National Archives for archiving. And then there is a process by which the documents are declassified if they need to be redacted so that no secrets are actually submitted out into the public.
Yeah.
But then they are allowed to be I guess the public can submit a Freedom of Information Act to get these records if they want them.
Yeah, that's happened often
Oh,
where they're just like, we
often.
need to see what's in this, and you petition it,
Yes.
and then I think a judge will pass. Like, yeah,
I
we can.
don't
Is it
know
a judge or a
exactly.
Congress?
I'm not sure.
But
I don't think it's Congress. But
some authoritative body is like, all right, we're allowing
yes,
this.
yes,
Yeah.
it's definitely not Congress, but an authority will review the FOIA request and say, yes, you can have these documents or you can see them. But this is all done specifically because of Richard Nixon. Now, I think a lot of people who are familiar with the Presidential Records Act know that this is a result of Watergate, the Watergate scandal in 1974 when Nixon resigned. Well, actually, Watergate scandal started in 1972 when the Democratic National Committee headquarters was broken into during the campaign of 1972.
Yeah.
So those people were connected to the White House and to the Nixon administration. And he stonewalled any investigation and tried to cover up anything that he knew about that. There's still speculation as to whether he actually knew about the burglary when it happened. But regardless of whether he did or did not know, he definitely tried to cover it up. He was actually using taxpayer money to silence people, to pay, extortion money to these people, to silence them so that it wouldn't.
The goddamn president.
I know. He's the president. He's sitting in the people's house. Like, this is all messed up. So he did all these things, and he did not want to hand over any of his documents to Congress because they were doing an investigation. Didn't want to hand it over to the Department of Justice. He was stonewalling every investigation. Does that sound familiar? But there is something so amazing about this. So during the Watergate investigation, the public hearings that Congress was holding back in 1974, these were public hearings, much like the commission that's happening right now, looking into January 6th. And there's a guy named Butterfield. He was the one who just blew the roof off of the entire investigation because he admitted that there were tapes that Nixon taped everything.
Mr. Butterfield, are you aware of the installation of any listening devices in the Oval Office of the President?
I was aware of listening devices. Yes, sir.
He had a recording device on his desk, and he would record everything. So Butterfield was under oath, and he's like, yeah,
The tapes exist.
Yeah. And so Congress is like, we want those tapes. So the reason this is all related to the Presidential Records Act is because Nixon did not believe he needed to hand those things over. He thought they were his records, they were his tapes, anything that would even come to light that he didn't want people to know. He said, nope, I'm going to destroy everything. You don't have a right. The Congress and the Supreme Court both said, you need to turn those over because you can't use those things. You can't destroy these things to cover up a crime. Now, I'm going to give you guys a little bonus here.
Bonus.
My
Love those.
favorite story in political history of all time. Because Nixon was asked, and I swear this is all related, and I'm going to bring it back full circle, but I have to detour for just a second.
All right.
Because Nixon was told to turn over those tapes, he was still trying to find a way to get around that. And so he said, I'm going to hand select somebody from Congress to review the tapes on your behalf, and he will transcribe them for you. And so I'm not hiding anything.
Did he just wake up out of the bed and just, because that sounds very dumb.
It does sound very dumb, but it gets really funny. The person that he chose was John Stennis, 72 years old and deaf. I shit you not. That was his way. Like, the guy was like 75% deaf. He was notorious for being hard of hearing. But a sitting member of Congress.
Like, I'm going to have you listen to this shit and write out what I said.
Yes. That was Nixon's compromise. And then Congress was like, fuck you. Give us the tapes. And the Supreme Court said, give us the tapes. And so he did. Now, all of that leads up to him resigning in August of 1974. Mm-hmm. And then a couple of years go by. And in 1977, Richard Nixon does an interview where he says, and I quote, when the president does it, that means it is not illegal.
That sounds very familiar.
Yes, it does. So I assure you, if he had not said that in public, this Presidential Records Act might not exist. Because several years from 1974 to 1978...
Because I'm sure there were a lot of opposition to that. That sounds like you're dumb.
Yes. This man truly thought he was above the law. Anything that he said or did was automatically legal because he was the president. So between 1974 and 1978, nothing happened. And then suddenly, after he does that interview, Congress is like, we need a law.
We need
a law.
Because he can't be talking like that.
Yes. So thank you, Richard Nixon. You led to the Presidential Records Act because of what you said during the interview. Wow. So anyways, this all exists because Congress deemed in the 70s that we could not have another Richard Nixon. We needed to assure that anything that happened in the White House is now public record at some point.
We literally have had 3 presidents that are worse than Richard Nixon since Richard Nixon. I just thought of them just off the top of my goddamn head.
You want to name them?
Reagan, Bush, Trump.
Which Bush?
Okay, pick.
There's been 4.
Whatever. Choose one. No, I want to stop. To be fair to Senior, Junior was a little bit worse than Senior.
I would say it was not Junior that was worse. It was Dick Cheney
Dick Cheney.
was worse.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
Yes. It was the company that he kept.
I still have mad respect for that guy. And I know that I'm going to get a lot of flack for this shit, right? But that motherfucker shot somebody with a fucking hunting rifle and then they apologized to him. I know. I still don't understand. Like, what kind of boss are you where you're like, look, I'm so sorry for standing in the way of your bullets when I was... Yo, American politics, like when you review it years later, it sounds like we're Russians.
Yeah.
No different.
It's crazy. American politics is getting whack. So anyways, that is the history of why we're here and why it's important. The reason I wanted to give that historical context is because when you have a president like Donald Trump, who is literally saying the same thing that Nixon was back then.
Yeah.
I took the documents, I declassified them. They're automatically declassified because I took them. If I do it, that makes it legal. Same sentiment all over again.
Is that like your Trump accent?
That's not my best Trump accent. I'm trying to not do it, but I did it.
Your
sort
Trump
of.
impression. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I totally declassified them. They're mine. Yeah. You know, I don't even know what we're talking about.
I do a better Mitch McConnell than a Donald Trump.
Yes.
Yes. So because of this mentality of if I do it, that makes it legal, that this whole story about the FBI coming in, by the way, it's not a raid. There were no doors busted open. Nobody was, swinging through the windows, handcuffing people. There was a legal warrant and they searched and they seized according to the Fourth Amendment.
And then they left with a bunch of stuff.
With a bunch of stuff that Trump said he didn't have.
In a Ryder truck. It wasn't even like they weren't even serious. When they got serious is when they left and they were just like, oh shit, this is what we found?
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't have had this in a Ryder truck.
Right.
But we could not have imagined that this motherfucker got these things sitting in the goddamn pool room.
Exactly.
Next to the chlorine cakes.
Exactly.
And the bromine.
Yes. Because the things that they found, and this is so important to the Presidential Records Act, how these things connect, is because there were top secret documents. There were also documents marked top secret /SCI. I want to spend a moment talking about what that is, because any way you slice this, whether the president had declassified shit or not, which I assure you he did not follow the protocol, because I don't think he even knows what the protocol is.
No individual can declassify a document.
Exactly.
I don't care who you are. It's not a one-person thing.
It's yes. And I have receipts to prove that. Yeah. Everything's linked below. I have receipts to prove that a person sitting in the Oval Office cannot automatically declassify things.
I mean, to be honest though, and like weird, a person sitting in the Oval Office can declassify something by speaking out loud about it to other people who are there. I don't know if that's illegal or just stupid.
Stupid.
But imagine if you were president sitting in the Oval Office at your desk, you have a folder that's marked top secret, CSI, whatever, and then you pull it out and be like, well, I'm reading line 13 right here that says, and you shouldn't be doing that,
Correct.
But then once you do it, it's now out there. It's declassified.
Well, that's part of the problem with the Trump presidency is that he would just
Do shit
without understanding the repercussions of that. So let's say that he does actually just speak things into existence. They come from a document. That document has more information on there there's a reason it's top secret or specialized compartmental information. There's a reason it's labeled that way because it has secrets, it has names, it has places, it has sources for all of this information that is top secret. So even if he were to speak something line by line into existence, that doesn't mean that the document itself is fully declassified.
Yeah.
So, and let's segue here for just a second because I have a link in the show notes below, and this comes from an actual company that creates specialized compartment rooms. Some of the documents that were taken from Trump's house in Mar-a-Lago were marked TS/SCI. And it's taken the media a while to catch up on this, but day one, when that warrant got released and it got publicized.
I don't think it's taken a while for them to catch up. I think they didn't want to catch up.
Maybe
because it
that's true.
makes the fucking office of the presidency look incompetent
Yeah.
if they were to come out and be like, this person took the most secretive of all the documents that exist in America.
Yeah.
And had him next to his fucking pool.
Yeah.
You don't want to be CNN, NBC, ABC, and you're breaking this story because now you've just told the world that Americans are stupid.
Yeah. Well, I think they already know that, but maybe the media didn't want to solidify it. I see your point.
Yeah. But you and I know. So Tom Brokaw and them, they're his colleagues. They should know.
They should. But they just care about, I don't know, they care about trying to pretend that we're not stupid. But
Yeah.
So anyways, some of the documents that were taken from Mar-a-Lago were marked TS/SCI. Check my Facebook. Within minutes of this warrant being released, I jumped to Facebook and I was like, y'all, TS/SCI is fucking serious.
It is the secretest of top secrets.
And it's not just that it's top secret itself. The SCI is specialized compartment. Actually, it stands for secure compartmented information.
Mm-hmm.
The compartmented information means it can only be reviewed in a secured compartment. A specialized building that is built with specifications that are they're insane to meet. You have to have certain types of windows. You can't have, it has to be temperature controlled in some spaces, depending on the climate surrounding.
The concrete has to be specific amount of inches thick or thicker. There's like lead involved, so you can't have like Wi-Fi connection.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
It is specifically designed so that people cannot get in. Only authorized people can get in, and no documents can get out. The walls have to be a certain thickness.
Yeah.
And you can't, it's supposed to make sure that anything that's marked SCI is reviewed in that room. It does not leave, and nobody who's unauthorized can come in to review it. No cameras, nothing, unless it's a White House photographer and they have permission. And you'll notice that you don't see the documents that are on the table that are being reviewed.
And they're usually far as fuck away.
Very
when
far
you
away,
take
so
the
nobody
picture.
can see it.
Yeah, yeah.
Only authorized personnel can take pictures, and it's usually for posterity. So I have linked below, and I will put a screenshot up here on the page of exactly the specifications that need to go into this. It's called a SCIF, Specialized Compartment.
It's a SCIF, yeah.
Yes. Secured Compartment Information Facility, a SCIF. Now, SCIFs exist in the White House. They exist in Congress. They exist in any...
The Capitol building.
The Capitol building, yes. Now, even some secretaries of state or presidents can have them in their homes, but... there is no SCIF in Mar-a-Lago. If there were, Trump would have said so by now.
Ain't no damn SCIF at a hotel resort.
They could build one. They build them all the time. So they have structural specifications for the types of doors, the hinges, the locks, electrical for telephones, security systems, electrical systems have to be built to specification to make sure it's completely secure. Ductwork, acoustics, all this kind of shit.
There's the visual part.
Design must ensure that no one can see what's transpiring inside from any distance. And so most SCIFs are for this reason constructed without windows.
Yeah.
So if
wait a second. Did we have a situation I want to say last year or the year before, there's sometime recently where a lot of GOP congressmen took their cell phones into the skiff.
Yes.
And it was a huge issue
Yes.
because everybody's like, what the fuck are you doing?
It was 2018 or 2019. Excuse
yeah.
me. I remember that.
Yeah.
They ordered pizza.
Yeah, and
They
it
were
was
all
like,
partying down
what the
there.
fuck are you
They
doing?
took their cell phones in the skiff. Yes, that was a huge scandal for this very reason. I can't remember what it was that they were in there for.
I think they were protesting the impeachment.
That
And
might have been it.
Yeah,
That might
and
have been
that
it.
was their protest.
Yes. It was something to do. It was something political. I remember that. Yes, and that had to do with they were
Standards
in
are
the
just
skiff.
breaking down.
Yes, exactly. That's why it was a scandal, because you're not supposed to have electronic devices inside a skiff unless they're authorized for use of maybe the White House, to have like the White House photographer or something like
Yeah.
that. So these documents some of the documents that were found in Mar-a-Lago were marked SCI, which means they can only be viewed in a secure location, in a skiff.
Yeah.
There is no skiff in Mar-a-Lago. Therefore, he is violating the Presidential Records Act, period, end of story. He committed a crime. I don't care what you say to defend him. I don't care if you like him or if you don't like him. He fucking committed a crime because he has these documents outside of his skiff, end of story.
And it's not like any random person can just take them into a skiff. Like there's a whole protocol
Yes.
of like checks and rechecks and balances and like
Yep.
the trail of who had the document at what time, when, where, who moved it, where was it unlocked,
Yes.
where was it unsealed, who resealed it,
Yep.
you know, and just
All of it.
all of it. And he just like
Yep.
just took them in his limo in the trunk and just
It's such a violation of national security. Our national security is only as good as the secrets we can keep.
Yep.
And he is out there just willy-nilly handling these documents and just saying, I'm just going to keep this one. I'm just going to look at it. What is he doing with it? That's what I want to know. Why
Okay.
does he think he needs it?
This brings us to what people have been considering and contemplating and debating was the motivation. Why do you have this? To go back to your same question. Why do you have this? Why do you want them? Why do you need them? And I want to start off by let me give some examples. Like people are saying that it's his, and people are saying that he declassified them and these happen under his watch or whatever. So whatever.
Yes. That's what they're saying. Yeah.
Another fucking talking point that they tried to explain away the illegal activity was that, and this is so funny to me, like I hesitate to speak these words because it makes it sound like I'm dumb because it's coming out of my mouth. But
So these are
fuck.
not, disclaimer, not stating these words.
No, this is what I heard watching the TV. Like y'all watch the TV. They said he took work home.
That man does not take
Like
work
a
home.
teacher takes home like essays to grade and shit, or like if you're a fucking programmer or you know you have a presentation to do or whatever, and you took work home. So like obviously people are working from home. We've been in a pandemic, whatever.
I work from home all the time.
That's what one of the excuses that they gave for like he took work home. That's not true. First of all, this ain't work. It's not like you're editing these documents or
No.
making a fucking pie chart based
No.
on information that's in it.
No.
That's not work. But people have been talking about the motivation. Why did he take this or whatever, right?
Why do you think?
And before I get into why do I think, I just want to recite two pieces of known and agreed upon facts.
Okay.
The first is Occam's, I think I'm saying it correctly, Occam's razor,
Occam's razor.
which says that the easiest and simplest reason or solution is most often why.
The correct one.
The
Yes.
correct one. The second
Yeah.
piece of information I want to impart to our listeners is a known saying. I can't remember who said it. I was looking it up earlier and it gave me like 4 different people it's attributed to. But it says, we should never attribute to malice what can easily be explained by stupidity.
Yes. I was just reading that quote about 2 months ago, and I also cannot remember who said it.
Yeah, but it's a star one. It's a real good one.
gonna look it up.
Never attribute to malice what can be easily explained by stupidity. So people are coming up with all of these whatever, and like The top one, oh, it's another razor? That's funny.
Hanlon's razor.
Okay, we got 2 razors. We can both sides of the beard.
Some people are attributing it to Napoleon, but
Right.
I don't think that's who I was reading it
I
about.
kept seeing all these people, different people, so I didn't want to say who, so whatever. Well, yeah, we're doing razors. I don't use razors anymore because my beard is nice. I wasn't keeping it before, but somebody liked it, and then I started liking it, so now it stays. So God be it. But these 2 things together have helped me to surmise what I think is his motivation, and this is just my opinion. This is not something that's
Before you even say it, I probably agree with your opinion.
Yeah. So some people were saying that
I smell what you're stepping
some
in.
people were saying that maybe he stole them or he took them because like he wants to sell secrets to our adversaries. And obviously Russia comes to mind first.
Of course.
You know, they're just like, maybe he wants to sell our secrets to Russia. Maybe he wants to whatever, and he wants to sell all of our things to whatever.
Yeah.
Now, I know half the country thinks Trump is a stable genius, but if you were going to take documents that are top secret SCI and you're going to sell them to China or Russia or North Korea or whatever, you probably wouldn't keep them in your pool room,
Right.
which is literally where they took them from.
Exactly.
So, you know, you would keep them in a place where you would want no one to know that they exist because you're trying to sell these documents for billions of dollars.
Right.
These are not $10,000 documents. These are, I'm going to give you half of my GDP.
Yes, exactly.
As a country.
People pay premium price
for
that
this
shit.
for this information.
Yes.
You know,
That's a very good point.
this isn't who killed Biggie and Tupac.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Although I still would like to know.
Yeah. But so it's not that I don't think he's intelligent enough to make, because first of all, you would have to have the most secure channels to reach out to these people to be like, yo, I got these documents.
Right.
I'm willing to sell them for whatever, and I'm gonna need you to come over, or we need to meet somewhere neutral so we can discuss. He ain't doing that. He playing golf. He's eating hamburgers. He's like, that's who he is. So going way complex to be like, this is why he's doing it. Nah, let's keep it Occam's razor. Let's keep it real simple, right? Here's what myself and other people who have been studying this whole thing have come up with. He just wanted to show off.
Yes.
It's that simple. Because,
So
and the
true.
reason why this makes sense is because he's done this with other things many times.
Yes.
Apparently, before he was president, whenever you would go up to Trump Tower to have a meeting or whatever, he would, like, your meeting is serious. You're talking about maybe renting a few floors out of Trump Tower, maybe investing in some of his properties, maybe hosting a golf tournament with his name on it, whatever. You come to talk millions of dollars worth of business. And he's just like, okay, listen, before we get to the business, I want to show you something. This is Shaquille O'Neal's shoe. And apparently he has like the left foot of like Shaquille O'Neal's shoe from like his rookie year or some shit. And so they would all like clamor over it like this fucking size 18 Reebok. Like, oh my God, look what you have. This is amazing. And they're just like, and he's sitting back like, yeah, I'm cool, right? Who wants to fucking touch me? Who wants to touch me? I got Shaquille O'Neal's rookie shoe. Who wants to touch me? But that's not the only thing. Apparently he does that with the shoe. And then he has like the fake Time Magazine Man of the Year, which
totally fake.
Yeah, which Time Magazine have come out and said we've never published any such thing ever.
Right.
But he has one of these completely photoshopped on his wall, and he'll like lead people who come to do legitimate business with him and be like, "Look at this! You are standing in the presence of this man who was once Time Magazine's Man of the Year." And if you're not familiar, wherever the hell you're talking about, you might be like, "Holy shit! This is that guy," and he's just like, "Yeah, I'm cool as shit. Who wants to fucking touch me?" So let me take it a step further. Now he's president, right? And he has access to all of this fucking shit. Same shit's happening in the White House. Apparently, when foreign dignitaries, foreign diplomats, foreign heads of state come to visit the White House or whatever, and it's just like, you have to meet the Speaker of the House, you have to meet the Vice President, you shake hands or whatever, and then you finally get into, oh my God, I'm in the Oval Office. No matter who you are, I promise you, if you're the fucking president of Denmark, you come to America and you're in the Oval Office, that's a big fucking deal.
It is.
You're literally in the most powerful room on the planet. And while you're taking all of this in and you're seeing bust of Lincoln and bust of Washington and bust of Thomas Jefferson and all of this shit, this guy over here in the corner is just like, hey, got something to show you. Got something to show you. Come over here. I know we came to talk about our bilateral agreement and G7 happening next month, but you got to see this letter that Kim Jong-un wrote me. Yeah.
This all makes so much sense.
Because he did that. Yes. People have reported that you go into the Oval Office and he's like, look at this letter. Kim Jong-un wrote me a nice letter. He said really nice things about me. And it's like, bro, we ain't come here for all that. What are you talking about, my guy? So now that he doesn't have access to those things anymore and he's leaving and he knows he's out, he's like,
I need some bragging rights.
Let me grab some shit that I can show.
Right.
And I really believe that because like I said, let's not go as deep. Right. Let's not go as deep as he was trying to sell secrets. And to be fair, let me be fair to Trump.
Sure.
I don't think there's any American on the planet. Let's go with on the planet that would come in contact with top secret SCI documents, know what they are. Like when you get a top secret folder, it literally says blasted across the fucking thing. Top secret. You can't miss that. Right? You come into contact with this, you're not thinking, let me call Russia.
Exactly.
Because I'm going to fuck 330 million people.
Yeah.
My family, my friends, my fourth grade school teacher, whatever, for whatever amount of money I might get.
Yeah.
I'm going to be in the history books as the man who fucked America.
Usually those people, I guarantee you, anybody's in that situation, they're doing this.
Yeah.
They're looking over their shoulder to make sure nobody is looking at them. You're right. They are not thinking of what am I going to do with this. Yeah. They're looking at, am I going to get caught with this?
Because if I get caught with this, I'm getting shot.
Yes.
You don't live. You don't. What? You disappear. Matter of fact, you never even existed. You just wipe away your existence.
It's true.
It's over. Like, the fact that he the fact that he is an ex-president is why he's not dead.
Yes.
That's the only reason why he's not dead. Anybody listening to this, me, Beth, whoever, if you were holding one of those things by tomorrow night,
you do not live anymore.
You've never lived.
Yes, you never lived. Yeah, they will.
It's over.
They will erase your existence. Absolutely true. This is why I'm so frustrated with people who are giving deference to him. I agree with you 100%. We don't know that his intent was to do something nefarious, like giving it to Russia. But we do know that man is very insecure and he has a very fragile ego. And any bragging rights he can get is exactly 100% what a narcissist will do.
A narcissist with tiny hands and a mushroom dick. We can keep going. Yeah. But, you see what I'm saying?
It's definitely an ego.
You need the bragging rights.
So I agree with you. It is Occam's razor. It is far more probable that he is actually just using it for bragging rights. Yeah. That he is intending to actually
sell to China. You can't be that. First of all, you can't be that and then run for president again. That ain't it. He's not trying to do nothing bad with it. He just didn't understand you can't use these for bragging rights.
Right. And to that point, the whole reason he's running for president again is because he actually has not declared, and there's a reason he has not declared. Mm-hmm. He is grifting people right now.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't want to declare running for president after doing all this kind of stuff. So if he were going to make money by selling these things to Russia or to China or to anybody else, mm-hmm. he would be making so much money he wouldn't have to dangle that carrot out there, campaigning as if he might run for president one day. He'd be sitting pretty in Mar-a-Lago right now or in Bedminster Golf Course. Because he would just be like,
because the people who would buy such information mm-hmm. are paying cash,
way much more,
and cash.
Yes,
like it's not like you're getting a plane is being flown over.
Yes,
with briefcases.
Yes, exactly.
Raw
he
cash.
Wouldn't need to be running for president right now. No. Doing all these rallies, pretending like he's running for president. So yeah, what you said makes 100% sense.
I know. I've been thinking about this.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Yes. Exactly.
So you have people who've been defending him on TV, on, whatever, and they've come up with all these talking points. I think we touched a couple of them before, mm-hmm. Saying that, he's declassified them, or the deflection was lovely. The biggest deflection was just amazing. That Obama took 13 million documents.
That is the most ridiculous thing. You want to know what happened? You want to say
13
what happened?
No, I know what happens.
Yeah.
But 13 million? So the agency that is in charge of presidential records,
The National Archives.
as soon as that was said, they came out on Twitter, on TV, on whatever, and they're like, not true. Obama didn't take jack shit. We have an office where we keep things in Chicago, and that's where about a third of the documents are. He didn't bring them over there. We went and got them, and we're not telling you where they are, and we have them. Stop lying.
And the reason they're in Chicago to begin with is because that's where his presidential library is going to be. So any of the documents that are there being held by the National Archives is there on reserve to be put in his presidential library when it's finished being
Here's
built.
the next part of it, though. None of those documents, and they came out and declared it completely.
Right.
None of them are top secret.
Exactly.
None of them are SCI.
Right.
It's just regular shit that you can go pick up anyways.
And there is a process for that anyway.
Yeah.
Let's say there were something that Obama wanted to have in his presidential library that was at one point top secret. It goes through the process of declassification. I'm going to come back to declassification in just a few minutes because I want to finish on the GOP talking points, but I will go in depth into the declassification process.
Yeah.
And it goes through the process, but those things are redacted. So if there's anything in there that might still maybe need to be classified, they can still be given to the presidential library or to the former president or to anybody through the National Archives. However, they are redacted, all of the...
Heavily.
Yes.
Now you can't even make sense of this
before
paragraph.
handing it over. So even if Obama has something that's top secret, it's fucking redacted.
They came, I don't remember what program it was. It was one of those night programs, and one of the people from the National Archives was just like, yeah, ain't no top secret documents and none of that. So, but that's their playbook though. Always deflect.
Always Obama, Hillary.
Like, Obama has 13 million, and it's like, where you think he keeping them in his house in Brooklyn? Like 13 million, my guy?
Yeah.
Where you think 13 million pages are kept somewhere? Stop it.
Can we talk for a second about how the story kept changing from Trump when this whole thing went down?
Yeah.
First, he didn't have anything.
Yeah.
Then, and I may get this out of order because it's hard to keep track of all the fucking lies he tells
Because
all the time.
of the Gish Gallop.
So first, it was illegal. They weren't going to find anything. He was cooperating with the FBI and with the National Archives, and then they took documents, but he wants them back because they're his. And then they planted the documents because they didn't actually have anything there when the FBI showed up.
Yeah, so the documents are now planted.
Yes, the documents
by
are
the
planted.
FBI. And the funny
but he
thing
wants
is,
them back.
it wasn't even just him like talking like these points. It was actual senators or congressmen. Matt Gaetz was saying some shit. Rand Paul was saying some shit about, I don't know, the FBI could be planting documents. Like the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Now, this ain't Opalaka police.
Right.
This is the FBI motherfucking eye. Like, They flew in on private jets, took jurisdiction, and was just like, I'm gonna need everybody else to back the fuck up. We're doing this.
Right.
Those people came through and like planted weed in the car.
Right.
Like plant evidence.
Right.
Like, come on, my guy. There's so much chain of command and paper trail in what they're doing and signing off or whatever. You can't just like, can you imagine somebody like an FBI agent with like a bunch of folders like, put this here.
Right.
Oh, look what we found.
Well, there's cameras. That's the thing. There are cameras everywhere. And I assure you, if anybody had been planting evidence, Trump would have released those tapes to the public by now to prove that point that they were planting evidence. And there's been nothing. Yeah. Now, the fact that these people are out there backing up these accusations from Trump on his Truth Social account.
Yeah.
And giving breath to this is really sad because these people know better. They know better because they are part of this process. They create laws. They have redacted information that's given to them in a SCIF. They have unredacted information given to them in a SCIF. They know they're not supposed to take these documents outside of the SCIF. They are part of this process.
And they are just misleading the public like they always do because it's like they know the majority of the public is dumb
Yes.
or just ignorant. Maybe not dumb, but ignorant. They don't know.
Ignorant,
and then
because
they
they don't
play on this ignorance all the
Yes,
time,
always.
just to get a rise and for political
Yes.
expedience or whatever. And it's like, come on, my guy.
It's really sad because they also have embarrassed themselves,
Yeah.
including Trump's lawyer, who was on site the morning of when the FBI came in.
Yeah.
Because I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she went and did an interview with Laura Ingraham where she said that she wasn't shown the warrant. Now her signature is on it, and there's a timestamp. There's a fucking timestamp on it, so you can't tell me that she was just dumb.
Yeah.
She knows she's lying, but she's lying to cover up the lies from Trump. She's trying to give credence to his lies to make people just kind of brush it under the rug and move on. Unfortunately, there are receipts for everything, so they're just embarrassing themselves.
Like, I don't know why you would do that. Like, you know that you put your signature on the thing. You know it's there. I don't understand why you would just, like, you know. And then so you have other people. I don't think many congressmen, but just the talking heads, whether it's Fox News or Truth Social or OAN or whatever the fuck, they're just like, yeah, he declassified them. And I know we've gone through that already,
And
where it's
we'll
like
go more in depth too.
one individual can't declassify a document. But like, these are the talking points that they're trying to use. That they didn't find anything. The raid was illegal.
It wasn't a raid.
That the FBI planted evidence, and you know that is just absolutely ridiculous.
It's insane that they were spending any time on this. I mean, if you
Yeah.
want to be on the right side of history, tell the truth.
Okay.
And make objective observations of what's going on.
Yeah.
So for the people who are going to say, I never saw the warrant, I saw your signature on it. There are receipts for it. So you can't tell me not to believe
that
my
is not
eyes.
even a discussion. Like, if they go to court, like, the judge is gonna be like, is this your signature? Yes.
Yeah.
Next topic. Like,
Exactly. Exactly.
We're not gonna talk about whether you saw it or not because you signed it.
Right.
We're done.
So the GOP talking points are really just sad. Very sad. Defending somebody who's indefensible. And I'm interested to see what's going to happen over the next 5 years.
The regular people, and I'm not gonna call any names, but the regular people who are always defending the fucking GOP
Yeah.
have got, like, the regular people with some iota of sense. They're all missing from social media. You know who the fuck I'm talking about.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm talking about you. You haven't been on social media, and I do want to hear what you have to say, sir.
Some people
Yeah.
are...
So come back and tell us about the president that you voted for stealing top secret documents. I, Stainton, want to hear your opinion. You know you are.
So let's talk about declassification for just a second. More in depth. Trump is talking about automatic declassification that happens.
Automatic.
Automatic.
Get the fuck out. That word was used?
I don't know that he actually used that word in particular, but that's the sentiment of what's going on. That some people who are just dying on that hill of defending Donald Trump, just bless your heart, dying on that hill of defending Donald Trump by saying, well, but when he left the White House with them, they were automatically declassified by proxy because
by
he had
leaving.
them.
Oh.
Just by crossing that threshold, they're automatically declassified. Okay, that's just on the surface is dumb. But let's humor
they
that.
literally made that up.
Well, I can see where it comes from. It comes from the mouth of Donald Trump.
Okay.
It's made up. It's made up. But I'm going to put something here on the screen, a couple of different screenshots, because I think it's important that we understand. This is from the Department of Justice and the actual clarification of how declassification works. If you automatically declassify something, it's determined by the date or the event in which the original authority deems it classified. What that means is, back to our earlier point about how the president can ask for something to be declassified, but there's a process. That process has to include the original authority that said this information had to be classified in the first place.
Right.
So let's say it's about nuclear secrets.
That means the EPA has to fucking...
The Department of Energy.
Yeah.
And the Department of Justice. They're the ones that hold this. And there's actually restricted data is usually, it goes back to the 1950s related to atomic energy. that's why the Department of Energy is kind of looped into the nuclear
Right,
stuff,
right.
because back in the 1950s, the Department of Energy was involved in atomic secrets and everything. So anything that's related to nuclear information, the Department of Energy is who originally decides what's classified and what's not.
Yep.
So if the president decides that they want to declassify something, he can't just wave a magic fucking wand and make it happen. He can't just say, I speak, therefore it is. It means it has to go back to the Department of Energy, and they can agree or disagree.
Your impression is getting better as we drink more.
Because I'm trying this time. I swear I do a better Mitch McConnell than a Donald Trump. So the other part of the automatic declassification, let me just put a fine point on that. You can't automatically declassify something unless the president himself or herself has originally been the authority that deemed it classified in the first place, which usually doesn't happen.
Because the president can't just decide by himself to classify something.
Right.
He can make a recommendation.
Right.
But you can't just be like, I'm classifying this.
Yeah.
And then it happens.
Right.
Which means that the same way he can't say, I'm declassifying this. And it happens.
Exactly. So I'm just going to leave that little door open just a crack to say, if in the future at any time the president themselves determines something's classified, then they could automatically declassify it by virtue of walking through the threshold outside of the Oval Office and just carrying it with them, stuffing it in their pants like Scooter Libby did. So if we say that it is not automatically declassified, there is a process. The process also includes a time frame. So unless otherwise stated, according to the Department of Justice, the time frame is usually 25 years. Something is classified unless there is an exception to that rule for the purposes of trying to keep some sources or people or information secret for longer. Then 25 years after it's classified, that's automatically declassified. So it's not been 25 years since President Trump has been in office. Nothing about this makes sense if you try to say he automatically declassified something. It really does help to actually research things from primary sources. Like, we're here to help inform you, but I'm going to link show notes that will actually give you primary sources, because our purpose is to educate you, but actually trust that you are going to take this information and research it on your own. We give primary sources. So I'm talking about Joe Rogan. Like, Joe Rogan is not going to be your source of information that's worth shit.
So you're gonna, when we were preparing for this, one of our Patreons actually had given some, how can I put this? Okay, so let's just say this outright.
Okay.
Correlation is not causation.
Correct.
And we know that here at Mixed Politics.
Correct.
But when everything was going down, I got to scroll too far to find it. So I'm going to just surmise. And he knows what I'm talking about. Rayon, shout out. Thank you for being a Patreon for over a year.
Yes.
That's our guy. That's our fucking, that's our dude. He was saying at the time when everything was coming out, he was looking at another situation and saying, I wonder if these two fucking things are connected. So when they had the warrant and they went and got the documents and they found out that all these top secret documents were in there in the SCI and whatever, he pulled up a bunch of articles about CIA operatives and what do they call again when they're overseas doing spy shit? Assets.
Yes.
CIA assets literally dropping like flies overseas.
Yes.
You remember that happening last year?
I remember it happening in 2019.
Right. And so he was saying, wait a motherfucking minute. What if the documents that they found is related to the fact that all of these assets, and it was not just like one or two countries, it was a number of countries, Middle East, Africa, Asia, whatever.
Yeah.
Like assets were just found with bullets in their head.
Exactly.
And it was just like, it got so bad that the CIA started mass recruiting to replace because, and so he was just like I said before, correlation is not causation. And I know this is out on the World Wide Web and y'all gonna hear like, we said it. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that we don't know what's in those documents.
Exactly.
But the time frame correlates with the fact that we got a bunch of secret motherfuckers dying.
Yes. Well, this goes back to 2019. And so again, you should not be getting your education from podcasts, but we are actually giving some information for you to then take and actually go to find primary resources, go to find extemporaneous notes, information. So I say go back to 2019 when there were some of these events happening where Trump actually was just kind of walking around with some of these secure documents where they had gave sources.
Matter of fact, I'll just read it.
Does it say 2019?
This one was a
2021
2021
okay.
article, but I'll just read it because, like I said, that's our guy. He pays for extra and whatever, and we love him to death. So he says, last October, the CIA put out an urgent notice to agents that a large number of informants and assets had been captured and or killed in the past year. At the time, they blamed recruiting practices, but what if?
It's a solid question. We don't know the answer to. But what we can say is that there are implications to having top secret information with sources and methods.
Yeah.
Now, you might be hearing that phrase a lot. Mainstream media, they talk about sources and methods. That means when we have information, people that work for the FBI and the CIA, they are experts and they are heavily trained in how to get information from people through interviews, through observation. I mean, they're heavily trained people. And so if you have top secret information that's outlined in a document that is on paper and somebody who is unauthorized reads that, if they're also heavily trained, like somebody that used to work for the KGB, they would read that information and they could extrapolate from that verbiage the sources of getting this information and the methods by which they got the information.
Yeah.
Sources being, they maybe actually be humans. They could be drones. They could be computers, whatever. But the sources could include humans.
Yeah.
That are out there trying to get information and bring it back to the United States or to transmit it somehow secretly to the United States.
And more than likely, it would have like this person's location, at least at the country level. Maybe not city, street, or whatever. But we like, wait, this motherfucker's a CIA operative?
Right.
Kill him.
Some identifiable information that could lead back to the... And those people are working to actually keep America secure. So if you think that it's just nothing to worry about, that sources and methods could be compromised, then you're actually working in opposition to the national defense of this country. And you can't say that America is the greatest country on earth if we can't actually keep our people safe.
If we can't keep the military safe, we can't keep our assets safe. We can't. That's ridiculous.
Exactly.
I don't know. Yeah. So I thought, I'm sorry, I know you were going somewhere else with that, but I thought that was very important. Plus also we got to include our Patreon people.
Of course.
Because he made that connection.
Yes.
I think it was like either Friday night or Saturday night I was out and we like literally I was out partying and he's texting me. He's just like, bro, have you put these two together? And I'm like, let me sit my drink down for a little bit.
Yeah.
What you mean?
Yes, exactly. And that's a valid question because back to 2019 when Trump was meeting with Vladimir Putin and he was requesting, I don't know if you guys remember this, but there were times when he was meeting with foreign dictators and he was not having a translator.
Right, he was the only one in the room.
Yes. Back then I was wondering, that's suspicious.
Suspicious.
What is he doing? And so now if we're talking about he has these documents he's not allowed to legally have.
Yeah.
And they're just willy-nilly sitting around. They're not secured like they needed to be in a skiff. It is suspicious. And so I'm not going to try to be like Tucker Carlson and be like, I'm just asking questions. But what we're saying is there's more to the story than just a binary choice of Trump is innocent or Trump is guilty. There's so much gray area in here. And what I'm asking for all of you guys to do is to think critically about the people that we have in office. Because I know that you might think this guy is great because he gives a middle finger to the libs. That's not enough.
Yeah.
That's not the highest standard we could possibly have.
This motherfucker could be compromising assets we have overseas.
Endangering all of us.
There's military secrets. There's nuclear secrets. There's a bunch of things that are top secret. There's what government we're trying to topple and what, person we're trying to kill.
Yeah.
All of that's in there. All of that's top secret shit.
I said it before and I'll say it again. Our national defense is only as good as the secrets that we can keep.
And we can't have top secret shit in the pool room, my guy.
Exactly.
Next to the fucking wet clothes and the bikini.
I don't want to see Trump wearing no trunks. There are some exemptions to the automatic declassification. Let's say something is declassified after 20 years automatically. There are exemptions, and I'll put them on the screen again because we are here to help educate y'all, and we're not going to say this shit without bringing receipts.
Yeah.
So one exemption is 25X1, anything that reveals confidential human sources, like we were just talking about. That's an actual exemption to the automatic declassification of documents after 25 years.
Yeah.
That is how secret we want to keep our sources.
They can come still find that motherfucker.
Exactly. That person may still be alive. They may still be working for the CIA or the FBI. So sources are very, very serious, and we need to keep them secret. And so if something is to be declassified after 25 years, there's a process to say, hold up, that's not declassified because that person still works for us.
I've seen such documents
that
have been declassified because I'm 40. So the last set would have been around when I'm 15.
Okay.
Right. And I've seen such documents. And even the ones that are declassified are still heavily redacted.
Yes.
Like you're looking at them and you're like, I can't make heads or tails of this because you're not giving me all the information.
That's right.
And you shouldn't.
That's right.
Why the fuck would you?
And that's also why some of the people who are ride or die for Trump are really upset that the details of the affidavit that was signed that specifies exactly how they got to getting the warrant for the search and the seizure of documents at Mar-a-Lago is heavily redacted. I'm sorry, but you can't call yourself a patriot and say that you're upset about the redactions on that page. And I am so sick.
No, that shit was heavily redacted too. There's like one line that you could see.
Black Lives Matter. I had to. I'm sorry. So those black lines are there for a purpose.
What did you just do, man?
Black Lives Matter.
Okay.
So those lines are there for a reason, because you can't. I'm sorry, but you cannot call yourself a patriot and say that you are entitled to know what's behind those black lines. And I'm just going to get on my soapbox for 1 second. I'm going to level with you real quick. And I'm fully fucking serious about this. Our justice system is designed so that we have an innocent until proven guilty process. And things take time. Investigations need to happen. And all T's need to be crossed. All I's need to be dotted. You may want to know information, but this shit that people say that they're entitled to know shit has got to stop. You are not entitled to anything in an ongoing investigation, because that actually compromises the integrity of the investigation.
And we've been through so much of that. The fucking Mueller investigation, the January 6th or whatever.
January 6th committee.
Y'all need to chill the fuck out and let people do their work.
You may want to know information, but you are not entitled to know anything.
Because I'm telling you, even after 25 years, I've looked at top secret redacted information. Like, I remember what it was. Like, I think it was a bunch of stuff about Area 51 or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And like, you still, like, you look at it and you're just like, I haven't learned anything.
Right. Exactly.
Because...
Now, you may be upset that you don't have access to the information, but I've seen a lot of people on right-wing media, left-wing media, all of the things in between, say, we demand to know. You don't demand shit from the Department of Justice. No, you don't. And actually, if you do try to go through that process of feeling entitled and actually acting upon that entitlement to demand information in an ongoing investigation, you are actually really not a patriot. Because that goes against the Fourth Amendment. That goes against everything in our justice system that was designed by the Constitution. So you can't fucking call yourself a patriot if you're going to demand an active investigation be handed over to you so you can appease your ego.
That just reminds me of everything that we've talked about since this podcast got started. You have all these people who are just like, well, that's unconstitutional or whatever. It's like, half the shit you're saying is unconstitutional. Right. It's not even in the Constitution. Have you read it?
Exactly.
They literally hand this out to you in Washington. It's like a pamphlet. Like, it's this big with like 3 pages.
Exactly.
You can read the whole Constitution. I've said this before, in 20 minutes. You're not reading it and you're saying, like, just to segue into our next fucking topic, the whole student loan forgiveness thing. Yeah. And I saw this lady online was just like, this is unconstitutional. Bitch, you think student loans is in the Constitution? What?
Yeah, that's going to be our next episode. Look forward to that.
Yeah. So
yes, let me make sure I didn't want to have anything else about this automatic declassification. Yeah, basically it's just not that simple. Trump cannot declassify anything because there is a process to it, and even if it were to be automatically declassified, it doesn't happen for 25 years. So
after the fact.
After it
was classified.
After it was classified.
Not even after the fact. After it became classified.
Yes. Yeah, do you want to touch on the GOP hypocrisy real quick? I mean, it's kind of evident the
I
hypocrisy
can't
of all
even
this.
like.
but-
I want to be honest with you and to be
Yeah.
honest with the people who listen to this, and we love you to death. I kind of want to, but it sounds almost like an not an oxymoron, like a redundancy.
Yeah.
It's like the
Yeah.
GOP is hypocritical. Really? Duh.
Is it
we know that.
Tuesday? I mean, yeah.
All right. So the FBI, for I'm gonna wrap it up in 1 minute.
Okay.
The FBI went in, served the warrant, got it signed, everything, whatever, and they're like, "This is outrageous." Blah 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 blah. Defund the FBI. Bitch.
Yeah.
Aren't y'all the party of Back the Blue and Blue Lives Matter and Law and Order and but when the law and order is coming for your dude, is defund the FBI.
Yes.
Which is, I feel like the hypocrisy is right there.
Yes.
When George Floyd and pretty much everybody else,
Breonna Taylor.
everybody else, and everybody was calling for the demilitarization of the police.
Yes.
And the defunding of police departments, and we're
Right.
like, police don't need tanks.
Right.
We need to defund them and put more money into social services, social welfare, whatever.
Exactly.
Defund the police. All the GOP was just like, what? Well, the next time a fucking crackhead comes to rob you, you don't get to call 911. But when they have an executed warrant against your dude, you want to defund the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Have you ever looked up the word hypocrisy?
Right.
Because you're living it. Your life is hypocritical. You can't be like, no, we're not defunding the police because we like when they kill black people. But when they raid Trump, defund the FBI. Mm-hmm. Make it make sense, my guy.
You can't. You can't make it make sense.
Make it make...
This is why people make the mistake often of leading with their political affiliation and then taking an action that aligns with that political affiliation. I am not affiliated with any party. None of them matter enough to me for me to give up all of my integrity to follow them. I lead with what makes sense. I lead with facts. I lead with objective
I can't believe they executed a search warrant and the entire conservative community is like, defund the FBI.
It doesn't make sense. We need to have law and order, and the party of law and order should be in favor of law and order, and that's exactly what's happening here. So,
because I don't know, I think the problem is maybe it doesn't seem like hypocrisy to them, and I'm gonna go back to Occam's razor.
yes,
Here's the simplest explanation.
yes,
A lot of them still believe that he is the rightful president. So how dare you execute a search warrant against a sitting president of the United States of America,
True.
the rightful place holder or whatever.
That is what they
so
think.
it might be that they're having cognitive dissonance where they're I'm just trying to, you know what, I'm trying to help y'all out so it doesn't seem like y'all are hypocrites. So instead of being hypocrites, you're just not that smart.
I don't think it's a matter of smart. I think it's the Scientology effect.
Go on.
I believe that people who, I mean, a lot of us can look at Scientology and say it's a crock of shit. It was created by a guy who wrote science fiction, and he just was extracting money from people and manipulating them into giving their money, their time, their energy, everything. These people abandoned their family. So you can't look at a person like that and say, this is all bullshit.
Yeah.
They're not going to buy that it's bullshit right away. They're going to eventually, over time, realize it's bullshit, but it's going to be a very bitter pill to swallow.
Slow burn.
Because they have given their time, their money, their families.
Emotional investment.
Their emotional investment in this. And for them to admit that they were wrong to believe something is going to admit that they were so ignorant and so manipulated that they sacrificed all of those things for a fucking lie. And that's why it's very difficult for people to look at this and say, I can't believe that Trump would be guilty because that would mean that I would have been duped for the last 6 years. And it's hard. So, I get it.
So let me end it on this note. From our Patreon, again, Rayon, he loves this saying, it is easier to fool someone than to convince someone that they have been fooled.
It's very
Beth,
true.
tell these people how they can reach us.
Well, you can reach us on all major platforms. So you can find us on Twitter, on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. And, we're here on YouTube. anywhere that you listen to podcasts, and be sure to subscribe to us. Give us a thumbs up or a like, or however you do it on whichever platform, because it really helps us to get the exposure. But also, we want to have more people who are invested in this channel, because it's important.
It helps the dialogue too.
It does help the dialogue, and it also helps people to just kind of think critically and to get outside the box and to think differently, because, we're not affiliated with political parties here, so we don't have an investment in the Democrats or the Republicans.
No.
We just want people to be able to kind of think outside the box a little bit. So, but we are also on Patreon, and he's going to tell you about that.
Right, and if you want to be a Patreon subscriber like Rayon, our number one Patreon subscriber, man, that guy's awesome.
Yes, he is.
You can go to patreon.com/mixedpolitics, where we give back to you and you give a little bit to us. Patreon has provided us with, payment for our streaming services, for our distribution, for whatever, and that's where all of that money goes. Like, neither of us are driving Ferraris yet.
No.
Not off this, at least. But yeah, you can get t-shirts, you can get hoodies, you can get different merch, you can get signed stuff by us, you can come hang out with us, you can go to dinner with us. I mean, depending on the level of your investment into this program, we'll go out for dinner with you, and you can be a part of this show.
We need a bartender.
We still do need a bartender. Yeah, let me just stop right there, because I'm getting drunk and it was gonna get bad. So, patreon.com/mixedpolitics. We'd love to have you. And to all of our analysts, pundits, and experts, you wonderful apes. Thank you for sticking it out with us. Appreciate you.
Now, as we're winding this down, I have to tell
We
you
did that in one take. What?
Yeah, I have to tell you one thing. When you were talking about the CIA, I started laughing, and I should probably mention I was not laughing about what you said about the CIA people who were being killed. I was laughing because you said the phrase, "Wait a motherfucking minute." I have a friend who absolutely loses it every time you say that. Because
I didn't know that was a thing. I keep doing it. It's not the first time. You're right. Okay.
He actually quoted that back to me in a conversation about a week ago. He was like, wait a motherfucking minute. Yes, he loves when you say that.
Apparently, is that my thing? Is that my shtick?
Yes, because it was something you said on a prior episode.
Yeah.
And he was just like, that's the greatest thing ever.
Wait a motherfucking minute.
Yes.
No, I say it when I'm serious, like I'm in the moment pondering. Where I'm like, I haven't thought about, and it's happening right now. Give me a motherfucking second. Let me make a sentence out of this.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah. I think it was the Roe v. Wade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I just had to clarify that I was not laughing at CIA operatives.
Leave this in.
Yes.
Leave this
I
in.
will.
Yeah.
So I was laughing because when you said that phrase, I just couldn't help but laugh. I had to cover my mouth. But that was for you, Kev. I know that you like that phrase.
Hey, Kev, be a Patreon member. You'll get some more motherfucking minutes. I promise you that.